while braiding salon to donate his hair. However, the owner kicks him out. At night, Daryl's roommate, Tim LaFleur, enters the room and informs him that the landlord asked for his share of the rent. He then reveals that he's giving up pleasures like having meat, drinking alcohol, and even sex. Hearing this, Daryl laughs at his friend, but the latter replies that in order to experience true contentment, one must experience pain and deprivation. The next day at the cafeteria, where Daryl does another job, his classmate Scott approaches him. Scott tells him how he's the perfect candidate for the job Daryl is competing for, as he possesses all the necessary qualifications the job demands. Meanwhile, a very attractive girl in their university, Janice, arrives at the cafeteria. Daryl gets visibly awkward and Scott mocks him. In the next scene, Daryl attends an economics class by Professor Engel, where Randall Tyson from Smythe-based Corporation talks about the job both Daryl and Scott are competing in. He then explains the qualifications needed for the job: a perfect GPA, involvement in social gatherings, athleticism, and a link to the company, all of which Scott has. He mentions that the company will choose a winner from 5 finalists. After this presentation, the professor begins his class, and a debate occurs between Scott and Daryl on the same topic. The scene then cuts to an ice hockey rink where Daryl asks his coach to give him a chance to play to qualify for the job. Because Daryl has never played, the coach disagrees with the idea, even though Daryl keeps pressuring him. Daryl then pleads with his roommate Tim, who is also the captain of the hockey team, to convince the coach. Unfortunately, when the coach gives him a chance as a stopper, Daryl cannot save one goal and gets hit by the puck several times. Tim approaches Daryl in the next scene and shows concern about his financial situation, but Daryl assures him. While cleaning the campus ground, Daryl finds a pamphlet with information about a seminar in the neuropsychology department, and he takes the opportunity to earn some extra money. During the seminar, a lady tells them about a new drug that can heighten the 5 human senses to a new level. However, the students begin to leave the workshop as she explains the side effects of the drug. By the end of the presentation, Daryl is the only one in the room, napping. He agrees to the test without listening to the complete information for the sake of extra cash. He goes to Dr. Thomas Whedon's office, where the doctor explains the drug to Daryl. Daryl needs to inject 6 cc's of the drug into his buttocks every day before bed. He also warns Daryl about the disorientation he might feel during the initial usage. Daryl then goes to a KZ frat party the following night for the sake of adding new qualifications to his resume. He meets Janice again and asks her out, to which she agrees. However, he asks Scott to pledge him as a Kappa. Scott denies, telling him that he doesn't fit in, saying everyone else in the fraternity is boring. Daryl gets hurt and leaves the party. Once he reaches his room, he injects the first dosage of the drug, frustrated with his situation. The following morning, Professor Engel starts distributing question papers for the exam. As the exam begins, Daryl begins to experience the drug's effects. Otherwise unnoticeable, the sound of pencil, watch ticking, chewing, and the light reflected from the classmate's diamond necklace start to bother him. He gets visibly uncomfortable as his face expression and body language change. He explodes from all the reactions, and when the professor asks him to stop, he displays Tourette's symptoms. Daryl gets frustrated with the situation and goes